I had the honor of beta testing this prototype 3D printed blaster, and shockingly, it was the worst experience I've had with any blaster in a long time. Ironically, it was marketed as a top-of-the-line, ergonomic, and modular blaster, but at the beginning it was anything but that. 12 months of prototypes later, I'm surprised to say that this story doesn't end with disaster. There were endless problems, so let's find out how one of the worst blasters I've used ended up being one of my favorite experiences. In June 2021, I received an early prototype of the SR200 by Orange Modworks. Advertised as extremely ergonomic, it was shocking to see that beta testers were frustrated with the poor design choices and most prominently, the terrible material the blaster was made of. Long story short, there were multiple incidents of people's blasters snapping apart. Although that didn't happen to me, I ran into 3 other issues, including one that I didn't think was possible. First, the SR200 was incredibly heavy due to all its metal parts. Second, priming the pump action grip took a lot of force and made for an awkward experience. And third, the biggest problem with the blaster was, it didn't blast. Yeah, like the trigger was borderline non-functional. I couldn't believe it. After priming it, I would have to rapidly smash the trigger anywhere between 15 to 40 seconds to fire a single dart. Pair that with a sharp metal trigger jackhammering into your flesh, and you got yourself an experience akin to having your finger mauled by a malnourished pug with dental issues. I literally could not performance test this blaster. At that moment, I realized that Orange Modworks had to fix all these fundamental issues before the final version, or else everyone who pre-ordered this blaster would have wasted all their money. A couple months passed, and in August, I was shipped a new package. The sour taste of the last prototype's experience still lingered in my mouth as I opened up this box. Here we go. I was half expecting a helpful serving of disappointment until I primed the blaster and pulled the trigger.
Whoa! I didn't see it.
I'm happy to report that it actually fires. Feels a lot smoother, there's a lot less resistance to it.
It sounds really solid.
I let out a sigh of relief knowing that this time around, Orange Modworks made a functional version of the SR200. Unfortunately, big issues still plagued this prototype. The prime was still heavier than I would have liked, and the trigger pull wasn't that smooth, but my biggest concern quickly turned to its print quality. While cleaning my room like a good boy, I accidentally dropped the blaster on something and a chunk of the handle got obliterated just like that. This was a red flag. You should be able to use a Nerf blaster with peace of mind knowing that it could at least withstand some rough handling, but this was no ordinary Nerf blaster. This was going to be a premium product with a whopping price tag of $150 US. And look what happened. Orange Modworks had one final shot at fixing all of the SR200's problems when they sent out the final version in November. Did they finally do it? At long last, I can properly introduce you to the Orange Armory SR200. It appears almost identical to prior prototypes with the same industrial and futuristic flair. The black and white contrast looks exactly like a stormtrooper or sci-fi movie blaster, and it's easily S tier when it comes to my favorite color schemes. Let me tell you how they vastly improved this blaster since their first prototypes I've received, making the SR200 one of my favorite blasting experiences. After countless redesigns, I think they finally sculpted the handle and the front priming grip for maximum comfort. Personally, my hands just wrapped around them perfectly, but I could see some people wanting a slightly thicker priming grip. Over the multiple prototypes, they made the pump action grip removable so you can put on a whole different grip on the Picatinny rail. In previous versions, these screws would become loose after firing the blaster, but this has been improved upon in the final version. Both sides of the blasters have jam doors. Sliding the rough plastic pieces forward or back felt really janky, but at least I won't be using them often. I haven't yet run into a jam with this version of the SR200. It's nice that you can leave the doors open, still fire the blaster, and more easily see how much ammo is left in your magazines. Speaking of magazines, the SR200 is made to exclusively fire half-length darts with the use of Talon magazines. I love how easy it is to snap them into the blaster and easily pull them out. Unlike the first prototype, you can now take out the mag when the blaster is not primed. This is such an underrated feature. Earlier I mentioned how one of my concerns was the tough priming action. I don't know what black magic they used, but Orange Modworks drastically changed something to make this final version one of the most comfortable blasters I've used. In all versions, you pull back, push forward, and pull the trigger to fire a dart, right? But now this priming action was refined to feel like butter. The length of the prime was shortened, and weirdly enough, the metal trigger pull felt light. The metal no longer dug into my skin. Normally, powerful blasters like this are not this easy to prime. The SR200's priming action is one of the most satisfying within all the Nerf Springer blasters I've ever used.
Just look at that. It's so easy.
Man, if I had the extra luggage space, I would totally bring the SR200 to Jared's Epic Blaster Battle 7 where I'll be featured as a VIP guest. But that won't work, so instead I'll be bringing something else that's reliable and powerful, and that's this video's sponsor, Surfshark VPN. You've heard it a million times, a VPN encrypts all your online info so no one finds out I've been googling if Nerf body wash comes in a travel size bottle. Don't judge me. When I'm in Dallas and using questionable public Wi-Fi, I'll have peace of mind knowing that Surfshark will prevent my information from being stolen by digital aliens. I'll be filming tons of Nerf content, and that's the last thing I need to worry about. I'm seeing Top Gun Maverick in theaters soon, and I needed to watch the first movie, but it's only available on American Netflix. Using Surfshark, I changed my virtual location to the United States, and bam, I got instant access to the movie. Use my promo code to get 83% off and 3 extra months for free. It literally costs a couple of bucks a month to protect yourself on an unlimited amount of devices, and it helps support this channel too. Links are in the description. Now back to the Nerf content. How does this blaster fare in the real world? I briefly used it during some games with a local Nerf group, and the SR200 was a solid performer. Long range accuracy was pretty decent, but nothing astonishingly noteworthy. I haven't told you guys yet, but one of the blaster's selling points is its modular performance. The SR200 comes with 7kg and 12kg springs and a variety of spring spacers. Depending on your needs, you can install a combo of spring and spacer to your liking to apparently achieve velocities of 120, 150, or 200 feet per second. With a 7kg spring and 7kg spring spacer, it fired Dart Zone Max Pro darts with an average velocity of 128 FPS. But I wanted to unlock the SR200's final form. I unscrewed the back and, with the included tool, unscrewed the spring spacer as well. I swapped them out for the 200 FPS combo, and on the chronograph I got approximately 190 FPS. Pretty close to the advertised velocity, and even though I installed a heavier spring, I could barely feel the difference in the prime, which was incredible. Having an easy and modular way of changing FPS, with all the necessary parts included, is a great selling point. And believe it or not, this blaster was about to get better. Orange ModWorks is working on different expansion kits, and recently I got early access to the brand new Tactical kit. Opening it up, I found a stock, extended mag release lever, flared magwell attachment, reinforced pump action grip, sling kit with QD mounts, and a Nerf stock adapter. The blaster in stock form is compatible with mil-spec buffer tubes, which are sold separately, and that allows you to put on a stock. But just buying the blaster itself doesn't come with the stock. The Tactical kit comes with an exclusive adjustable stock that easily screws into the back of the blaster. It makes the SR200 much more practical, but ergonomically I found that the back of the stock was too rigid and didn't contour well with the shape of my shoulder. Also, no matter how tight I screwed in the stock, it sometimes ended up loose enough to wiggle around. The Nerf stock adapter was annoying to install the right way, but after that it worked like a charm. I thought using a Nerf stock was a far better option than the Tactical kit stock. The reinforced grip feels like something that should have been included with the blaster in the beginning rather than something you have to pay extra for. The QD sling mounts attach anywhere on the Picatinny rail, and this allows you to snap in the ends of the shoulder strap into each mount, giving you an easy and removable method of slinging this blaster on your body. It's way better than any traditional Nerf strap, obviously, but I wish the end of the strap could rotate more freely. I noticed that the strap easily became twisted on itself when I took the strap on and off.
With this new system, you just take your middle finger, push against this, and pull out the magazine. But I don't think it's perfect. There's a lot of wobble to this. It's not very structurally sound, and it actually makes taking out the mag harder than the original mag release that came with this blaster, so I'm probably going to just switch it back to the original. This extra add-on is supposed to give you extra real estate for you to rest your hand on to aim at your targets, but seeing that it's quite tight, it's very hard to fit all 4 fingers on there, I didn't think I would be using it. But surprisingly, I used it more than I thought during my quick playtesting, and it does help offset the weight. If there's one improvement for Orange ModWorks, I would say just reduce the amount of curve here so more people can fit their whole hands on here.
Orange ModWorks will apparently release a bundle of the blaster plus the Tactical kit for $180, or the Tactical kit by itself for $60. Honestly, I don't feel like the kit is worth the money. A user may only find a couple useful things within the kit, and in that case they may just buy those pieces separately on a different site. $60 is a lot of money to spend when the kit overall just slightly enhances the SR200. Up to this point, I've mainly told you the great things about this final product. Listen closely now to what I'll be saying, as it could affect your decision to buy an SR200. It's better than the prototypes, but the blaster is still constructed with a lot of metal pieces, and that makes it very heavy. As a comparison, a Nexus Pro weighs about 1.76 pounds, while the SR200 weighs 2.93 pounds. For longer competitive Nerf battles, that extra weight may tire you out more than your average off-the-shelf pro performance blaster. But I'm happy to say that when I used the SR200 in short 3 to 5 minute games, the heavier weight of the blaster felt negligible. I'm no expert, the print quality felt decent, yet I'm still very afraid to be more rough with this blaster after what happened to the last prototype. I'm unsure if the print material or design has been reinforced in this final version, but considering how pricey the SR200 is, I'm not willing to stress test it. And speaking of price, that's my biggest gripe with this blaster. Without the tactical kit, the SR200 currently retails for $150 USD, apparently soon to be reduced to $125 according to Orange Modworks. In general, it's a lot of money to spend on a toy, essentially. Although if it does get reduced to $125, that doesn't seem terrible in relation to some other pre-built 3D printed blasters on the market. If you agree or disagree, leave a comment below. The selection of pro performance Springer blasters on the market right now is quite vast, and it's hard to say if the SR200 really brings anything unique to the table. I know it's not fair to compare the prices of a mass-produced blaster with a third-party 3D printed blaster, but it's hard for me to get over the fact that the Nexus Pro is a third of the price and 2 years older than the SR200, and yet it can do a lot of the big things it can do. I'm thrilled the SR200 has been refined far beyond my expectations. It's an awesome experience, but not necessarily a must-buy product in a world already full of other pro performance blasters that could still serve you well. Thanks to Orange Modworks for providing these samples. If you're interested, check out their website in the video description. To see a 3D printed shell ejecting shotgun or a rapid fire blaster, check out the videos on the screen. Thanks for watching, hope you do something great today and get that bread.